The new Grand Rapids docuseries follows the investigation into the death of a 15-year-old who was killed last summer.
But will this latest information help or hurt the case? As News 8's Adriana Doria reports, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, the short answer from Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom is no, it will not hurt. He does not think this episode will hurt the prosecution of the case. And ultimately, 15-year-old Amelia Penn was shot and killed over 10 months ago with still no one charged. But in the episode, a potential suspect is named and shown having not been charged. That individual's defense attorney from a separate incident questions the intentionality of accusing his client in a national spotlight, saying it could and likely is prejudicial towards his client. What is the current status of that? Why hasn't somebody been charged? What are you guys waiting on?
Well, murder investigations, and I've worked on them that take 3, 4, 5 years, even more. So there's just so much work to be done. And in this case, when you have someone that was murdered out in broad daylight, you have so many witnesses to track down and locate and then interview. There's just a ton of work to be done. And as was showcased in this episode, I think the biggest obstacle for this was the trust.
In the episode, a name and image of what police call a potential suspect comes to light, with many new details about the case, without having charged that individual in connection to Penn's death. Do you think this episode helps or hurts the case?
I don't think it hurts the case in any way. I think the case is what it is. I could see somebody watching the episode and then just being inspired, either an eyewitness to say, you know what, this is ridiculous.
Was there ever any talk about not putting that individual's name because he hasn't been charged?
You know, that's a question for lawyers and I'm sure Warner Brothers has a lot of lawyers and for them to look at, but when it's all access, you know, that we didn't put limits on what they could and could not record, and that's up for them. But as far as the impact on prosecution, I don't see it.
That individual named in the documentary, which News 8 is not naming, has been charged for a different shooting incident and has since retained legal representation for that case. His attorney, Barton Morris, tells me while he has not seen the episode, it could and likely will impact his client.
If the Grand Rapids Police Department were also involved in the production or the disclosure of information and discovery, I think that can be and probably is very prejudicial to my client, because if it wasn't for Grand Rapids Police Department and their investigation and their assistance in disclosing this information, I think it could be very prejudicial to my client. I think also in violation of his rights.
A stark difference from Chief Winstrom's response. Morris says this could be an issue of rights violation.
Maybe he doesn't get charged, and maybe it's not an issue. But if he does, depending upon the information that was distributed and broadcast, then there certainly could be constitutional violations. Depending upon what information was distributed or broadcast, how much information, how they painted my client, how they portrayed him. I think it's a high likelihood that he may be prejudiced by that if, in fact, he were to have a trial.
Ultimately, Chief Winstrom says he is confident that charges will be filed in Amelia Penn's case soon, but says they need to make sure they prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt before they do so. As always, whenever we learn more, we will be sure to update you on air and online.